But football without fans is not. You play a football match without fans, you've got nothing. It can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch, it becomes nothing.
And to Johnson. Johnson. And a corner Johnson. Larson. Oh, he's in. Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! Nakamura, he has done it! Isn't that just typical?
The game is over. The Rebels have won.
A star is born at Celtic!
Champions. That's who we are.
What's happening, boys?
Good evening, boys. How are we?
Very, very well. Very, very well. Even to the viewers, today is Tuesday, the 24th of January. Another Jungle Gyms Tuesday TikTok. And we've got myself, Paddy, and James in the house. James, how you doing, mate? You good?
Aye, all good, mate. All good. Can't complain.
In the background, is that a replay of that Aberdeen game from last night?
It is not. It is Red Bull Leipzig versus Schalke, although Darvel looked better than the both of them.
I suppose we're going to kick it halfway Darvel then, huh?
Of course, mate, of course. Is it the end? Is it the end for your man, Jim Goodwin, mate, Paddy?
Oh, I tell you what, that is the most shocking Scottish Cup upset in history. 149 year. It would be very, very hard to escape that. I think not reading between the lines, I think you could just imagine the furore with the Aberdeen fans, as you can appreciate. I think the majority of them would possibly say they want him gone. Whether the Aberdeen board can fulfil that is a different story. But listen, all credit to Darvel. They were absolutely fantastic. Great to see another Caltonian, Mick Kennedy, leading the charge. He's been everywhere today, by the way. He's been on the social media last night. He was on Talk Sport earlier on. And it's the kind of team talk that he did before the game. It's went viral. So it was a great rousing speech. Fantastic. Aye.
I'm actually sorry. I was just going to say I'm actually surprised that Jim Goodwin's still in a job. Now I'm surprised he was allowed back in the team bus after the weekend, and then obviously that there. But I seen talk on Twitter that Lennon was mentioned for the Aberdeen job. Out the frying pan into the fire there.
Aye. Paul Lambert's 2 to 1, I believe.
Well, Lennon, we know that Lennon doesn't give a shit anymore about having the spotlight on him. He would jump right back into the fire, you know what I mean? So he said that he's available to work in Scotland again. He's just, I wouldn't say that he's his own worst enemy, but, you know, the history, the past, it just does not put Lennon off from getting back into the Goldfish Bowl. Paddy, would you be surprised to see Lennon back in Scottish football?
No, I don't think I would. Possibly the experience of managing managing abroad might have did him the world of good. If Goodwin gets a sack, would he be the worst candidate to take over? I don't know. Would he be better than Paul Lambert? Probably. I think.
Paul Lambert is doer, man. He's very, very doer.
He obviously had a great time with Norwich, and then since he jumped ship to Aston Villa, it's really all went downhill for him.
We comment for Egyptian King there. How well is Bruni doing at Fleetwood? I know that he signed Scott Robertson recently, but what's his results like?
They beat somebody in the FA Cup. Who was it now? Was it the FA Cup? I think it was the FA Cup.
First time we've got to this round or something. Fuck, that's going on me. Hold on,
I genuinely can't remember who that was, but apparently they were bigger team. But no, I think he's doing reasonably well. Would Aberdeen take him back after the escapade under Stephen Glass? I don't think so, because all the stories at the time says that there was a bit of a clash between management and players, and obviously Scott Brown would have been included in that because he was good pals with Stephen Glass, kind of thing. So I would imagine he'd have been on the side of Glass, smashing it.
When I said out the frying pan into the fire, I didn't mean for Lennon, I meant for the Aberdeen support. I don't know if they're Stephen Glass and then what they've went through with Jim Goodwin.
Yeah,
if they
they
could
beat
be,
QPR. First plunge.
If they could be subjected to Lenny Ball, I think that would send you over the edge, man.
Any days, anyways. In the news of Celtic, so what have we got? More transfer rumours. So Josip Granovic, he's left, of course. 10 million to Union Berlin. We spoke about it in the last podcast, how he was rumoured to go for big money to big clubs. It's whittled its way down to 10 million to Union Berlin, who are actually respectably performing well in the Bundesliga at 5th place. Not too bad. However, the stadium, you know what I mean, the capacity of the stadium, what he's going to be playing in week out, it's going to be nothing compared to Paradise. But of course, you're 28 years old. You're looking for that paycheck. You've presumably got a family to take care of, so that's how things work in senior football. The rumours, though, guys, that Don Mackay was kind of schooled in a business sense. He was signing contracts to get these players in, such as Josip Granovic, such as Giakoumakis. And one of the stipulations was that he would sell them for not much of a profit. It was almost like the agents were taking advantage of him, like he wasn't knowing what he was doing. So that's one of the rumours that's been going around. We always did kind of wonder why exactly, specifically why was he binned so early in his tenure. But Paddy, do you believe in those rumours?
I would tend to go along something roughly with it. Now, many months ago, I won't say by whom, but I was told that this is obviously after Don Mackay's sack, and I was told that Don Mackay made a monumentous fuck up with some sort of paperwork. The person that told me didn't really go into too much detail, but apparently it was on a scale that other people had to step in and deal with things. So I would imagine that there's potentially some truth to that. Now, obviously, don't take my word for that. I'm just surmising in a sense to some degree, but it would not surprise me in the slightest. And obviously, like, take Juranovic in isolation, right? You've got a guy there who's just no longer returned back to World Cup semi-finals with Croatia, 28-year-old, still had 4 years left in his contract, and we sold him for £7 million. And the only other team, apart from the rumoured Atletico Madrid's, Barcelona, Chelsea, Man United, blah, 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 the only team that really had any kind of solid interest in him was the Italian team Monza. And even when they were talking about signing them, it was a loan to buy. So it wasn't as if it was some kind of incredible fee. It was a loan to buy with a future sell on, a future buy clause of to 7 million. So 7 million must be some sort of a clause. Something to that extent, and even Giakoumakis as well. I mean, he's still being rumoured to be leaving the club, and the only two teams that's been mentioned is Urawa Red Diamonds, and as Gus Poyet, who is the manager of Greece, has alluded to, is that he believes that he's still going to be going to a MLS team, and you're talking maybe £6 million if you're lucky. So there's 7 million for Juranovic and £6 million for the guy who was the top goal scorer last season in Scotland. He was the top goal scorer before that in Holland. You know, so that's certainly no big fees by any stretch of the imagination. So I think, again, reading between the lines, kind of dotting the I's and putting two and two together, it does certainly seem that, you know, there could be some truth in it.
Speaking of truth, James, I know Peter Lawwell gets a lot of stick. Does these rumours, such as the 10 million for Juranovic and the rumour about Giakoumakis going at a cut price deal, does that have the fingerprints of Peter Lawwell?
Nah, I don't think so. If anything, I think the incoming's getting dragged out is maybe a wee bit more along that path, but I don't think so. I heard obviously similar to Paddy with the rumours about Don Mackay as well, but nah, I think it's still too early, and I'll be the first to get on Peter Lawwell's back, but I think it's still far too early to point fingers at him for anything in terms of transfers. But just on Juranovic, we're saying about Union Berlin and getting a payday and all that. Do you reckon Union Berlin would pay much more than we'd be able to?
No, I think I read something the other day, James, and it was. I really don't know a lot about Union Berlin. I'm not going to lie. Don't really watch much German football these days either. But I think I read something the other day, and it was basically says that Union Berlin are kind of. I think the fans had ploughed some money into them, or maybe there was some kind of fan takeover, something kind of to that degree. So I can't imagine they'll be paying, extravagant amounts of money, which then leads to believe, why is he swapping Celtic for Union Berlin? But it certainly must be more money than what he was on at Celtic.
One thing I would say, sometimes you've got your international coach saying you need to be playing in a higher league standard. That's definitely not the case because he was picked throughout the World Cup. So that would never be one. I would imagine it has to be all about the money. It's certainly not for Champions League. Maybe it is for the money in playing in week in, week out against a higher caliber of opposition. But what was I going to say? The actual transfer, though, of Alistair Johnson, you're quite happy with him, Paddy. I heard that you had made a comment about he was quite reminiscent, or am I getting ahead of myself, reminiscent of Kieran Tierney in terms of his attitude, perhaps, his playing style?
I did say that. Obviously, when he first came in, we had a chat about him. I'd watched one game in the World Cup. I cannot remember who it might have been. Was it Croatia?
Canada.
I can't remember who it was, but it might have been. No, was it France? Sorry, I can't remember who it was, but the game that I watched them in the World Cup, I wasn't really impressed, to be brutally honest. And then obviously made his debut at Ibrox. The first half, I don't think he was that great. Second half, he looked better. But since the game at Ibrox, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking his attitude. I'm liking his kind of drive, his dig. I did actually say that looking at Johnston's, just his stature, his kind of physicality, the way he runs, the way he applies himself, the way he puts himself about, it's almost like a right-sided Tierney for me. He's got the shirt tucked in, short sleeves, runs about. I'm really kind of liking what I'm seeing so far.
Certainly far more talkative than what Tierney is.
Oh,
Tierney's
mate, I can't listen to him. I can't listen to him. I know that's probably going to sound quite ignorant and vain, maybe, but I think sometimes when you listen to Americans and Canadians talking about football, it just sounds quite weird. Just because they say things like postage stamp and
offense, defense.
What else did he say?
I don't know, mate. I turned that off.
Aye. I actually like for their jargon, which does kind of wind me up. I do love their confidence, the North Americans. I do love that about them. James, are you impressed with him so far? For what we've seen of him, or do you think it's going to be a slow burner with him?
No, I like him. I think the biggest compliment that you can pay him is that I don't think we've noticed any sort of drop off with Juranovic and Ralston being out and Johnson just slotted in there. Like, if you were to watch us, you wouldn't think he was just in the door. I don't think he's really been poor at all at any point. Even in the first half at Ibrox, as Paddy saying, he was poor. I thought he was actually quite good at Ibrox. Kind of assured, especially for making his debut. But he's come in, he's slotted in, no complaints from me. He looks the part.
It's refreshing, his attitude. And obviously buys footballers for their pedigree, but of course their attitude as well. That's another thing, their mentality. And he does kind of seem to fit the mould as well. Guys, so the other rumour is, I'm going to butcher the guy's name, and I would challenge anyone to say it perfectly. Oh Hyeon-Gyu, 21-year-old, centre forward from Suwon Samsung Blue Wings. Fucking hell. and the contract has been verbally agreed. So he's the rumoured replacement for Giakoumakis, who of course is still a Celtic employee. He's not yet left the club, although Ange has kind of hinted that he's got a move in the background. If any of you have YouTubed him, I YouTubed him before we actually started tonight, and there's nothing to go on. Like, I'm not even going to form an opinion of like the 4 minutes I've seen of the guy on YouTube. But I wanted to ask, this is going to be a replacement. I know that he's reported to be an international, but this is like a prospect coming in to replace an international striker in Giakoumakis. Yes, he's played in Champions League. Yes, he's played for his country. Giakoumakis is 27, 28. He's been the top scorer in the Eredivisie. He's been the joint top scorer in Scotland. The guy is experienced. He knows where the goal is. He's not green like I would imagine this Gyu guy or Go guy, whatever the fuck his name is. But are we...
There's Egyptian King just adding in. Gav, you sounded fluent in Korean there.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. That's a confidence builder. But guys, and to Egyptian King, are we strengthening or are we weakening? Is this part of Ange's plan because we get better every season, fast and aggressive and agile and all that stuff? Or is this a bit of an unfortunate bump in the road for his strategy with Celtic? What do you reckon?
He's said in his interviews, if a players want to go, and to be fair, it is understandable. I don't think Andy can begrudge Giakoumakis a move, because I mean, we've said it on here umpteen times. We all think he's going to get a game, and then every time it seems to be Kyogo. Kyogo's obviously the number one striker. He's a favoured striker, but Giakoumakis is, well, I know we went on a wee dry spell there, but he's he went on a wee dry spell there, but he's.
I enjoyed the Squid Game.
It was good. It was good.
No, as the manager says, is if you don't want to be here, you'll boot the door. And as it looks to be, we're getting replacements in basically before you're at the door. But I think Cho will be coming in as Giakoumakis' replacement, and O will be the third choice.
It's going to get confusing. Cho.
I can. Cho to O to Cho, Kyogo to Cho passes to O, and it's Turnbull. No, I think I would go along with that, James. Obviously, Gav, for the wonderful YouTube scouting system that we've got, he looks to be one of the guys that he certainly doesn't seem a central striker, anything like that. He kind of suits the model of Angie's kind of philosophy of having guys that can slot into different positions. You know, you see him drifting left, drifting right, drafting deep, collecting the ball, running through, blah, blah, blah. I would tend to agree with James in thinking that he's probably going to come in and be the third choice striker. You know, he's 21, kind of inexperienced. So I think over the next couple of days, you know, it'll probably be coming in probably tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, and then I think at the end of the week you're potentially going to see Cho.
To Andrew Taggart, are you talking about this O guy, Mr. O? He's brutal again. Mr. O, for fuck's sake. Is he brutal at making shots on target, but looks strong, ho? Or is that a joke? He's got to blast every shot. I don't know if you're joking there. And forever and ever Celtic. It's a worry if and when GG goes. Who is a proven striker for us, of course? And to be replaced by an unknown, which is fair. Giakoumakis was relative before coming to us. Still a league and cup to be won. Yeah, so we're halfway through the season. Is it right?
And yes, Stuart Miller, great second name, love it. Yes, tomorrow is Wednesday. My apologies. I've kind of lost track of time. Working too hard.
I didn't even catch that. What did you say tomorrow was?
I have no fucking idea, but obviously I must have think it was Tuesday or something.
I don't know. I was going to misread that and say he's apparently like Maida, but better hair. But he's better in the air. You would hope so, because a lot of the Japanese guys are quite short. But at this moment, are we weakening or strengthening? Because you guys are talking about bringing in Cho, but Cho's not here. Cho's not at the door.
Well, I mean, obviously we've seen the kind of fruits of Jackie Marcus, seen his goals, how important these goals are. So I think as it stands in now, we probably are weakening it. Sorry, but if we are to sign that other striker, then I would say that would be strengthening them because we've got 3 players for the one position. You know, Kyogo's going to play regardless, and I think that's probably one of Jackie Marcus's issues. But time will tell. Time will tell.
I think you'd have to say we're weakening the new, but that's just purely because it's unknowns that we're signing in it. But in the same when we brought Jackie Marcus in.
Andrew Taggart saying that we're weakening. That's fair comment. Fair comment. I would agree with that.
Well, I'm just going to actually look at another one of Andrew Taggart's comments there. If this is anything to go by, I'd say 6 goals in 18 minutes is fucking impressive, man.
Aye. Paddy, you fucking wind up, merchant. There was other rumours about a Polish striker. I didn't even read any of that. I just thought it might be clickbait.
Oh, was this the young guy who's supposedly the new Lewandowski? All right. Listen, Patrick Kamara was a new Lewandowski. You know what I mean? So I think that was probably paper talk. That Polish guy.
How dare you slander Paddy Kamara?
Oh, yeah.
Is he still in the MLS?
I think so.
Aye, he's Lewis Morgan's team as well, isn't it?
Is he? Oh, is he with the Red Bulls?
Red Bulls, I think so. Aye.
I
liked him. Played his goal at McDermott Park where he got absolutely poleaxed and then just bounced up like a spring and stuck it in the top corner. He was alright.
I'm not going to lie, mate. I have absolutely fucking zero recollection of that.
Nah, he shaved his head and then come back and looked a totally different player, literally and figuratively.
He looked a bit like Edward Norton in American History X. If any of you have seen that, he was that pulped up, he'd shaved, ready for prison. Aye, and I think everybody after that incident where he get decked to get back up again and he scored, everybody thought, he's got it now. But like the following game, he get dropped probably, and it was a sad wee exit. Is that like Simon Donnelly was the new Kennedy Dalglish? What's that in reference to? Sorry.
Just the kind of chat like when somebody's the new this like fucking Stevie Filton was the new Roberto Baggio or that shit.
Oh, I remember that. Did he go directly to Hearts after us, Stevie Filton?
I think so. Aye.
And his boy is playing for some team now. I don't know. I heard this boy was a professional footballer.
Hopefully he's got his mother's looks.
Yes, yeah, very unfortunate indeed. I know that this is off topic, but we're drinking Cantwell. Do you remember Cantwell played for Norwich against Celtic in a pre-season friendly? Was it?
Is that the one he fell in his arse?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yes.
He tried. It was as if he tried like some fucking Cruyff turn or a fucking something. I don't know. Fell in his arse. But no, I seen that today. He looks about 5 stone wet. That old Beckham kind of bang haircut for the 90s. I'm hoping that fucking Awata fucking karate chops him or something.
He looks like an absolute ticket. I think he might be into the place, perhaps Joe Aribo. But James, if that's the kind of the quality of quality of players that our opponents are buying, are you worried at all? Are you shaking in your little boots?
See, to be honest with you, there's 2 leagues. Even for ourselves, we sign players for 2 leagues, and I'm always a wee bit wary. The Dutch league and the Championship. There never seems to have been in between with them. Like the Championship, for me, it's just barring a couple of teams. To be fair, Norwich probably one of them. It's mostly just punt and run football. There isn't a lot actually football gets played with the ball on the deck. So time will tell. But nah, Disney have me with any fear at all.
Well said. Well said. And the other transfer rumour is that Moritz Jenz, his loan agreement has been cut short. Did it come as a surprise, or do you think the writing was on the wall whenever Kobayashi was coming in? And where did it go wrong for Jens? What did he do wrong? What I liked about him was that he had a bit of height, which you could accuse our two centre-backs of lacking, the Starfelt and Cameron Carter-Vickers. I thought he had a good start to his career at Celtic. He scored a couple of goals. James, where did it go wrong for Jens?
I've never... I don't want to say he's been bad, because he hasn't been bad, but I've never really been sold on him. For me, him and Starfelt, I don't think you could fit a fag paper between them. I think they're very, very similar players in the fact that they're all right enough, but you feel as if they've always got a mistake in them. They've always got a wee slack pass or whatever it would be. They just always get a mistake in them. I can't say that I'm surprised that... I know I don't think it's official yet, but obviously the rumours are that he's going to be let go. I'm no surprised after obviously Kobayashi came in. But for me, see if you really want to kick on, and obviously I know every day the Champions League's the kind of where we want to be and competing and stuff like that. I think for me, for a first team player, we need to look better than Jens and Starfelt. I think it done much of a muchness.
That's fair comment. What I do like is the manager's able to just kind of say, no, I've got it wrong, he's no good enough for us. And it's good to actually get someone on that type of agreement. Well, you're not obliged to buy him. You can look at the goods up front. If you don't like it, get him to fuck. Paddy, unfortunate, but we've got in Kobayashi. Jens, again with yourself, where do you think it went wrong, or do you think he just didn't do enough? He never set himself apart from what we've got already?
I think the only thing that's went wrong is that he's not even fulfilled a full season on his loan. And there's Frank Brennan saying it never went wrong for Jens, and he did nothing wrong either, and he was agile and aggressive, and I'm sorry he's leaving. I would say this kind of similar to yourself, Frank. I'm certainly not pleased that he's leaving. I think he's a decent player. I think when he came in, he pretty much kind of slotted right into the first team. I know Starfelt had kind of injury issues and that, but he looked a lot more comfortable on the left-hand side, partnering Carter Vickers, especially on the ball. He did well. I thought him and Vickers against Real Madrid were absolutely outstanding. I think when you look at what happened, obviously Starfelt did come back for that long-term injury, and he was straight into the team, and we've literally never heard of Jens since. Starfelt's just come in and Jens is gone. We've never heard from him again, and he's out the door now.
Any idea how much it was going to cost for Jens?
I think I'd heard about 2 million. That might be wrong, but that was what I'd heard on the rumour mill. Obviously he's not in Angie's plans. That's a fact, because his loan's been cut short. He clearly says he wants more football. So this obviously suits best for both parties. Again, same as yourself, Frank. I think he was good enough to stay. I think he's certainly better than Welsh. Better than Kobayashi. I don't know, but Kobayashi looks really, really good. You ask me. Brings a bit of balance to the team, being naturally left-footed. So I'm going to trust Andrew on this one. I'm going to trust his game plan. I'm going to trust his future plan and his judgment. And hopefully we do bring in better than Welsh come the summer.
Can I just nip in there, sorry? Just to ask you two, I'm saying about Starfelt. Do you rate Starfelt? Do you think we need better than Starfelt? See, for me, if you look through our strongest team, the defence, the new anyway, be Taylor, Starfelt, Carter Vickers, Alistair Johnson. Basically, our strongest 11. The one weak point, and it's got a glaring weak point for me, would be Starfelt and Aaron Moy.
I agree with you. I agree with you regarding Starfelt, that the optics of it, he does look like the weak point. I dare say that whole Moneyball thing with football, whenever you look at the statistics, I would imagine that the numbers actually stack up in his favour, that he does look good. And I'd imagine that's one of the reasons it was bought, because although he's a Swedish international, he's not a first-team player. He's been on the fringes for quite a while. I do like Starfelt. I do like his aggression, but his technique for passing, it looks so laboured and telegraphed, and you could see it coming a mile away. And a kind of a streetwise centre forward could easily get in front of him and nick the ball off him. But I think from what we've got right now, I would still definitely play him over Kobayashi. But I think he's upgradable. He's definitely upgradable.
Right. I'm not saying that I think Starfelt is terrible. I'm not saying that at all. I think he is solid enough. But I just think if we want to kick on to the next level, then we need better than Starfelt.
I would say that about more than a few people. I would also say that about Kyogo. I know that some people get offended by that, but I definitely think Kyogo is upgradable. If you only play with one centre forward at Celtic, and if you think about who we've been blessed with in the past, I don't think he's not my man going forward. But he's one of a few who are upgradable. But it's still slow and easy wins the race. So you can't. Roma wasn't built in a day, and just done much better this season. If you look at the squad compared to last season, we're making improvements. Paddy, would you kind of sit in the fence with Starfelt?
I'm just going to bring up Jamie Young's comment. Kind of sums up my thoughts. Starfelt on the right is maybe not that fucking incredulous, but Starfelt on the right is a beast of a defender, but he won't dislodge Carter Vickers. I think the last couple of games, or at least one game, when it was Starfelt and Kobayashi. Kobayashi on the left, Starfelt on the right hand side. Excuse me. I certainly think Starfelt looked a lot more comfortable, more natural, and he played a lot better for me. But I've said that for Dade on here for the first moment I seen him at his debut against Hearts. For me, he looks uncomfortable on his left hand side. Nothing's going to change my opinion about that. I think he's a good defender. I think he's got a good understanding with Starfelt. The two of them have got a good partnership. Their statistics, even though I'm not a stats man, their statistics are good defensively. He's been part of a title-winning team, cup-winning team, potentially again. But, aye, Carter Vickers is your man on the right-hand side of the defence, and I think he's certainly upgradable, but he's definitely has the quality to be part of the squad and challenging for either being a first teamer or challenging for the first team.
Can Starfelt get any better than the level he's at right now?
I think so.
And me question here for Plunge. With Cameron Carter Vickers back in on Sunday, is Kobayashi left out? Or James, do you think? James, do you think Kobayashi could become one of the usual suspects?
Nah, I think maybe through time, but I still think the new. As I say, I'm no slating Starfelt by any stretch. I still think our best centre half pairing is Carter Vickers and Starfelt. But as I say, I think through time that will change. But nah, I'd take Kobayashi out and put Starfelt in with Carter Vickers.
That's a good point. Good point they would say there. The media has been kind of driving this. I don't know if you want to call it an agenda as such, but certainly this image that Starfelt is a very poor centre back. And of course, I think what was it last season we conceded 18 goals. Did I pluck that figure at my arse or something? But is that roughly about right in the league?
I don't know. I'm just imagining you plucking things at your arse now.
Please,
no, I don't know. I don't. No, you're all right, mate. No, I don't know, but it sounds kind of relative, that figure, because I know that we did consider less goals than anybody. I think. No, listen. As I say, the partnership between the two of them domestically was excellent. But what do you say, man? Like as you say, there's many players in the team who are upgradable, and we it's opinions, isn't it, man?
That's it, mate. By the way, just a small detour from what we are talking about. I know we try to do an on this day. I don't have much of an anecdote for you, but on this day, the 24th of January, back in 1891, Celtic are forced to play a whole game with only 10 men after Mick Keown missed the train. Imagine that. And on that day, on that game, Celtic lost 3-1 to Vale of Leven. Sandy McMahon makes his first Celtic appearance in that same game. So there you go. I won't fault anyone for not remembering that. But back to the actual talk about the defence and stuff like that. I think like Cameron Carter-Vickers, he's probably at that level. He's probably going to stay at that level. In fact, no, he's at a reasonable age. So with experience, he'll probably get better and better, more focused, less mistakes. But I think physically, he's not really going to get any better. He's not going to get faster. I don't think that. But I'm happy with his progress. Starfelt, can he get better? Don't know. But Kobayashi, he's at a young age. He's definitely going to get better. But the question is, what's his ceiling? It'll be interesting to find out. But Jenz, of course, Jenz has been given the green light to exit Celtic Park. Hopefully, that doesn't affect Matt O'Reilly. And I did want to actually get your opinions on Matt O'Reilly. He's been not in the team for the past few games. Like he's came in for I don't know. He might have even started that game against Green at Morton. But for the main games, he has been out in favour of Aaron Moy. So, James, what does O'Reilly need to do to get back in the squad? Is he having a dip in form? Or is the bottom line just that Aaron Moy is actually a better player than O'Reilly and he's got more to offer the squad? So what conundrum has he got right now facing him?
I think it's a bit of both because Aaron Moy is playing out his skin now and O'Reilly did have that dip, but I suppose that's how Aaron Moy actually kind of get in the team and slide in the team, wasn't it? So, in terms of Gedden's affect him, I know they're quite pari. I don't think so because you'd probably see O'Reilly played his best football before Jenz was here, obviously last season. I don't know, it's a tricky one because obviously there is a player in O'Reilly, but you can't take Aaron Moy out of the team now, can you? So, you're looking at Hatate and McGregor. Probably no. So maybe a wee spell on the bench for O'Reilly. But see, to be fair, in the long run, that might not be a bad thing for him.
Well, Paddy, he came from MK Dons, still a young player, and I think a lot of people thought he might have the same kind of future, albeit the start of the future of what Dele Alli had, because he came from the same club as well. He had a good start to his career at Celtic. He still is, you know what I mean? It's not like he's went off the rails or whatever. Nothing at all at Dele Alli. So that's where the comparison starts and ends. But have we been guilty of overrating O'Reilly? Or where do you stand on it?
It's a fair point. I think the overrating came via his performances for last season because he was excellent. It could just be the old second season syndrome type thing, you know. Come in, you have a great season. Second one's a bit of lull, and then you push on. But he's certainly not been terrible or anything. I just don't think he's reached the heights that he did last season. But again, that could be down to Aaron Moy coming in and playing an absolute blinder since he's come in the door, if you ask me. But as long as we see O'Reilly still coming into the pitch, working hard, trying to make things happen, you know, we still need to view everything as a squad game now, because we can't just rely on 11 players. We need everybody to be working their socks off, and I'm sure O'Reilly does that, you know. But it could potentially be good for O'Reilly in the long run to have somebody like Moy who's experienced, playing well, coming in and showing, you know, this is what it takes, this is what you need to do, and just have that somebody to reflect on, you know. That's the kind of performances. This is what we need, and that's not to say that O'Reilly's not been doing it, but it's good. It's good to have a teammate, you know, bringing that wealth of knowledge and quality.
Stuart, you're asking, has he got the most assists in the league? I think you're right. The last time I checked, I think he's got 8 in the league, which is quite impressive.
There's loads of confirming that.
Yeah. Aye. So it does go to show you. Sometimes I'm guilty of kind of criticising O'Reilly because whenever I look at the kind of the midfielders that we've got, the people who kind of getting ahead of him, such as McGregor, Hatate, and Moy, they're quite obvious in their movements and what they offer the team. Hatate with that low centre of gravity. He's kind of fearless. He can try that Hollywood pass. He can beat a man very easily. And, he's got that. He's quite powerful in busting into space. McGregor, what can you say about him? He's probably the most intelligent player in our squad. He's the guy who makes everything tick. Without him, our deficiencies are glaringly obvious. And Moy, I know that James has been a bit of a fierce critic of him, but even he can't deny what Moy brings to the squad. His experience, he's got the best control of the ball out of anybody in the team. And a few of the players have actually said that. With O'Reilly, sometimes I'm critical of O'Reilly because I look at him and I say, what does he actually do? He's a tall guy, so immediately you think a tall guy, half decent control, he's a kind of an elegant player. But when you think about a comparison to him and Rogic, he doesn't have the dribbling ability of Rogic, and he's probably got the same kind of pace as Rogic with and without the ball. But I'm not trying to hate the guy because, as we've said there, his numbers back up the influence that he's brought to the team with 8 assists. He does take up good positions, but he's at a very, very, very early age in his career. So, and he's came from, the MK Dons, that was League One, correct me if I'm wrong. So he's got a lot to learn, and maybe having a wee bit of time out of the squad, it can allow him to refocus, get in touch with the coaching staff and try to kind of improve his game. On the other hand, though, whenever you've got players like him getting back into the squad, immediately you're looking at him to say, what are you doing to justify your inclusion right now? So sometimes he can be harsh in that regard as well. Just like Turnbull, whenever Turnbull comes into the team, if he's not scoring a goal, which he has done a couple of in the past couple of games, you're almost tempted to be harsh on these players. It's good to kind of take a step back, but again, we're just observing. We're not trying to criticise too much.
By the way, sorry, just to jump in. I think talking about Turnbull, he's on all my opinions on Turnbull. I think he needs to do better. I think he kind of flatters to deceive at times, especially when we're up against it. But I think the kind of recent performances for Turnbull I've been impressed with. He's shown a lot more drive. He's shown a lot more determination. I still don't think he's mobile enough to be a starter for Ange, especially when you look at other guys like McGregor, Hatate, Moy, guys that run about the endless engines. I don't think you get that with Turnbull. He's not the slowest, but he's kind of just below, kind of in the middle, I would say. Kind of maybe kind of on par with O'Reilly. But no, he's definitely looked a lot better. He looks sharper. He looks as if he's trying to get that dig in, drive forward, do that things that's been missing out his game for a while. So credit where it's due.
Aye, very true. James, in general, our midfield, do you think that's the strongest part of the team, the midfield? And whether you agree or not, is there anything that you would like to see, any additions that could improve our midfield? Because if you take out maybe Hatate, I think we've got a very slow midfield. So again, you think it's the strongest in the team, and is any changes, any improvements that you'd like to see?
You're probably looking at centre midfield and the wide areas for obviously being the strongest positions in the team. In terms of the midfield, I think we've all said it, and maybe Iwata will be that guy, but I'd like to see us get a ball-winning midfielder, a proper big Wanyama type. Maybe it doesn't suit Angie's style because that's what we thought this Abelgard was going to be, so it probably won't happen. It probably doesn't need to happen, in fairness, but that's what I would like to see. But as I say, it probably doesn't need to happen, as history shows, and obviously won't happen as well.
Guys, do you have any comments to pass on Bernabei? We spoke about him last week.
I think he's been very, very poor. Very, very poor. No writing him off just yet, but you look at, I think when Greg Taylor's on that team, you can see the deficiencies. Again, I'm going to hark back to the start of last season, because I was quite a fierce critic of both Greg Taylor and Anthony Ralston. They were the two guys that kind of started off in the Ange reign as the fullbacks, and it took them a lot of time to get used to the system. It was maybe a couple of months in, when it kind of slotted in for them. And Greg Taylor especially has grown into such an integral figure in the first team, and you definitely see you see what you're missing when he's missing. When Bernabei's come in, he doesn't look. He doesn't look as if he can play that inverted fullback role yet. As Plunge McNugget there says, Bernabei is struck with confidence. Again, I think he's got a lot of learning to do. I think his qualities is getting up and down the wing, but defensively, he doesn't look sound enough. When he's going forward, he's had one or two decent kind of attempted assists, but he doesn't offer enough. But he's a young guy. First Argentinian to play for Celtic. Not that that's getting any bearing right enough, but he's young. He's came from Argentina. He's coming into a new system. So give the boy time. Let's see what happens. But as it stands now, no good enough. No good enough for me.
Fair dues. Guys, so I know that this is not new news. It was old news. About a week or two ago, Matthew Anderson, the left back for the Celtic B team, who has captained the team, he put pen to paper until 2025, which kind of bucks a trend of a lot of people having left Celtic. I believe that there was clubs sniffing around from England after the guy. Ange believes that he's one of several to make an impact on the first team over the next 6 to 12 months. Now, James, you did actually go to the Celtic and the Rangers game at Parkhead, the B team, of course, that was, where we won 5-2. However, what I've heard is that the result kind of flattered the performance to an extent. So I wanted to get your views on the actual game itself. But the comment from Ange about he's one of several who he thinks will make an impact on the first team. Is he just talking a good game here? Understand that you need to kind of give these boys confidence. At the same time, I think it's, me personally, Ange's what, a year and a half into his tenure at Celtic. I think it's personally too early to kind of see the fruit of his labour so far, because he's not really been buying the youth players. The youth players are there. He chucked out the coach who we did have, forget the guy's name, but he brought in Mick McManus and
Tommy McIntyre.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. So he got rid of that guy because obviously he saw something maybe wasn't working, wasn't going the way that he wanted to see it. So he's brought in his two guys, or he's reshuffled the pack, Darren O'Day and McManus in there to look after the B team. But I still think it's too early to see the benefits of that. And I think talent with the youth, it comes in cycles. But when people talk about the class of 92, fucking hell, that was decades ago. It doesn't happen every year. Same with like Iniesta and Xavi and Messi, La Messiah. You know, it comes in cycles. Even if you've got a good structure there, you don't get it every year. Point made. So, is it just talking a good game, James? Is it too early to see the kind of the talent coming through from the youth team? Because a lot of people actually, I heard on the radio on BBC Scotland after the game against Greenock Morton, one of the guys, I forget the guy's name, he was slaughtering Ange for not giving enough youth a chance. But, you know, if they're there, you play them. Maybe they're not there. So I know that this is a bit of a long-winded question. So what's your thoughts on the B team? And did that give you an insight into the talent that we've got right now at our disposal?
Mm-hmm. Well, what I will say is I agree with you. It is still too early. And I know it's been said before, and I'm not going to kid on, I watch the B team regularly, but just for like what I have seen, we do try and play the same way as the first team in terms of the inverted fullbacks and stuff. So especially at that age, and obviously without Postecoglou kind of being there week in, week out with the B team, it will take a bit more time. It will be difficult. In terms of that game, the standouts, the two standouts by a country mile was the boy in the middle of the park, Ben Summers, and your big pal at the back, Boston Lawal. By a mile, they were the standouts. No, I wouldn't say that MD was poor. I thought, well, I will say somebody was poor, that's a lie. But the big fullback, that UNO2, I think he was playing left back, right back. He was playing fullback anyway. I know he's been loaned out. I was definitely at Clyde, and I think he might have been at Queen's Park as well. And I think I actually seen something about, I want to say it was West Ham, but it was definitely a kind of a decent sized English club was sniffing about him.
Who was that, James?
UNO2.
He's quite mobile with that guy, isn't he?
Jesus. Good lungs. Carries all the oxygen. Apart from him, everybody else was kind of all right. As I say, fuck his name just right. Made Ben Summers and Boston Lawal were by a mile the standouts. Rocco Vata played and scored, but that I was really impressed with Ben Summers. He looks apart.
I've heard about Ben Summers. What type of player is he? So he's a midfielder, but is he fast? Is he more of a passer? What was he like?
He seemed to have a bit of everything, to be honest. It was definitely more an attacking midfielder, a decent bit of pace about him, but I want to say he scored. I'm sure he scored, but he was putting some nice passes about as well. But he looks apart, so I'd like to see him getting some minutes off the bench, and Lawal as well. I know we've spoken here about Lawal before, in terms of the friendlies that he's played and stuff, and not been impressed with him. But it's obviously really harsh to judge him off the back of a couple of pre-season friendlies and stuff like that. So to be fair, I thought we would have done it at the weekend. I know there's like squad hierarchy and all that, but like at the weekend when we're 4-0 up, why no chuck on Lawal for the second half, or stick Rocco Vat on and stuff like that, and give a wee look at them. So I'd like to see maybe that moving forward, but then
potholes.
Then at the same time, I don't know, but is there a rule where if a B team player plays 3 or 5 games, then they're no longer available for the B team?
That was the rules that I read last season. I would imagine that they're still the same. Yeah.
See, that's kind of cutting your nose to spite your face then, isn't it, with the B team? Because unless you come in and you get decent time to make an impact and hit the ground running and actually can make a case for you to stay in the squad, I suppose, then, I mean, for the sake of about 20 minutes football, you could lose it in a season for the B team. Do you know what I mean? That's the stuff. I don't really like this B team in the Lowland League thing. That I think it's a good idea in theory, but the no promotion, I know they're sitting top of the league now, but obviously they don't get promoted, and then this 3 or 5 games, whatever it would be, it seems a bit kind of backwards to me.
Well, see the only thing I like about the Highland. Sorry, Gav. The only thing I like about the Highland League is that, well, obviously it's giving the boys a chance to play, but they're coming up against kind of professionals at the tail end of their career, guys that have been trapped right down the level. So they're coming up against older guys. It's not just against boys, you know. They've played against guys that have played at the Premiership level. So that's a good factor, you know, guys that are going to get stuck in, they've mastered certain arts over the years, that type of thing. But just to hark back to your earlier point, Gav, about it being too soon for Ange to judge. I think James, you had a point there, that the B team are kind of playing with the same style, formation, tactic as the first team. That was something that was quoted earlier on in the season, was that Ange is going to be integrating the younger squads to be playing playing the style of the first team. They're going to be training a lot more beside the first team at Lennoxtown. There's going to be guys coming for the B team each week, probably a rotation type thing, and they're going to be playing training with the first team. So obviously, the Highland League's not that great in terms of, you know, competition, promotion, that type of thing. But I think what Ange has seen is day in, day out stuff with these boys on the training pitch. And, you know, Jenz is away. We've signed Kobayashi, so that's left us not left as a defender short, but there's Boston Lawal being on the bench. He got 4 or 5 minutes the other day, so he could be the guy to step in for Jenz. That could be the kind of thing further down the line for Ange. Ange's a bit like a chess player. You ask me, he's always 3-4 moves ahead, and we've been told that about his transfer policy. He's kind of 2 and 3 windows ahead. So we could be looking at Lawal stepping in, Summers stepping in, Rocco Vata stepping in.
Hopefully so, and time will tell. Guys, Woodsy made a good comment, and I wasn't going to talk about it because I hadn't really thought about it as such, but I'm going to kind of piggyback on the back of this comment. So we've got the final against the Rotten Mob, the Viaplay Cup final, the 26th of February. So obviously that's been delayed for obvious reasons with the World Cup. But so Woods is saying, we win the League Cup, then we win the treble. If we lose it, then you can see the rotten mob doing the cup double. Hopefully, I'm wrong, obviously. A one-off game at Hampden. What do you guys think? Do you think anything's possible? As Al Pacino said, anything's possible on any given Sunday. You either win or you lose. And could it be, if it's a negative conclusion to that game for us, could that have any long-term consequences? Or do you think because of the dates and the calendar, it's too late on to spur them on? And if they did win the cup double, how much do you care about it, James?
Obviously, you want to win everything, don't you? But the first cup will be massive, and I know obviously the back of the Ibrox game, we didn't play great, and everybody keeps saying that we'll smash them, we'll take 5 and 6 off them and all that. It never really goes that way, does it? But what I will say is that game at Ibrox, after the back of it, that was when all this stuff came in about us having the virus in the squad and all that. So I don't think we'll be as poor as we were at Ibrox. I fancy us to win it, but I'm not going to say we're going to win a treble just yet. I'll hold off. But I do fancy us to beat them. We are a better team. But if they did win it, I don't think it will give them enough of a boost. The league's the bread and butter in it, just purely because of the Champions League. That's the bread and butter. Get that one, and then I suppose you could say it's won the new. But I fancy us to do them in the cup final.
Aye, well, interesting comment from Frank Brennan. He was saying that the cup final could be a complete battle verging on a bloodbath. That sounds like something going back to the 80s perhaps, Paddy. What do you reckon? One-off game, anything can happen. We are the better team on paper, but history shows that it doesn't always pan out like that.
Of course, cup final, anybody could win it. I think when you look at the importance of the League Cup last season, you know, it set a marker for the season for us winning that, because that showed that we could be winners. It set Angie's team up. You know, this is the kind of performances we need to go and win cups, win leagues, We ended up with win the league. We lost the Scottish Cup, of course. So it could be the same this season around for them. You know, this could be their marker to try and kind of set the tone for things to come. But for me, excuse me, I think Michael Beale is a complete and utter fucking used car salesman, charlatan of a man. I don't think he's got any patch of credibility in terms of what Ange's got. But again, I'm not going to rule them out, because I've just got this horrendous feeling that they're going to win it. Just an inkling, and I think we're going to win the double. But listen, somebody said it earlier on, the league's the most important thing. But again, as James says, I want to win everything, but we know a treble is a very difficult thing to achieve anywhere. But we'll see what happens. Mate.
See what you're saying about them getting the bounce as well if they win it, and obviously it happened to us last year. But see, because it's at the end of February this year, I mean, it's still pretty much a month away. So when we won it last year, it would have been before Christmas. So it's still early enough for you to make a kind of decent impact going into the second half of the season. By the time this comes around, hopefully we'll be more than 9 points clear, and it's pretty much wrapped up.
I agree.
Oh.
Sorry for interrupting. I agree with what you're saying. It's probably too late to set the tone for the league, because it's at the end of February. But at the same time, if they do bag one cup or two cups, it might galvanise them, and they give them more money to this Beale guy, and it could kind of give them a feel-good factor going into next season as well. So there's pros and cons of it. So I'm seeing what you're saying about the future.
Aye, but as I say, I don't think I certainly don't think that your man Beale has got the kind of, I don't know what's the best way to put it, the kind of longevity that Angela got, because obviously that cup final set Ange up on his quest to rebuild Celtic and implement the Ange dynasty. The Ange dynasty is what I'm calling it, because I think he's going to build a team, and he's going to build kind of a thing at this club even after he leaves. You know what I mean? I can't see that with Beale. So of course, it's a cup final. Anybody could win it. Sometimes it depends on how you turn up on the day. As we've saw so many times over the year for Celtic, sometimes we just rock up, think we're going to win it, and fucking fall flat on us. Aye, we've certainly got enough quality to hammer them, to beat them, but anything can go. So, but again, league's first and foremost. But I might beat the bastards at Everton. So,
I think it's about time that we give them a hiding at Hampden. I think we owe it to ourselves, especially after them beating us when Cameron Carter-Vickers hit that bar, you know, and Lundstrom kind of, unfortunately, it was just bullying our midfield. So I think we owe it to ourselves to show them that we're the better team. So I want to see is obviously we want to fucking win every game, but I want to see revenge. If we would say, guys, why don't you or Dale from Celtic Supporters Podcast get Trevor Sinclair on for an interview? By the way, I had TalkSport on at the weekend, and he used to be on with Simon Jordan and Jim White during their kind of flagship show, but I think he's been demoted, and I heard him, he was just like a kind of a match reporter, so definitely has been demoted. He was dumped off talk shite for not towing the party line about the Royals, and you would love to hear his views on Celtic. Paddy, I believe that you have tried to get in touch with him. You have slid into his DMs.
Mate, I messaged him one night when I was absolutely pissed. He's not answering me back, so I think that's probably a no.
You can only ask. Well, Woodsy, and to the other guys, if we can get Trevor Sinclair, who would you like to see as pester until they do agree? James, who would you love to interview?
Can throw me right under a bus there. I'll go a wee Paddy McCourt. We'll get Paddy McCourt on next week.
Is he quite coherent? Yeah.
Never spoke to him.
Have you heard him?
I can't say that I have. I know. Tell I seen his open goal interview a couple of years ago. I had a few good stories.
Fair dues. Paddy, who would you speak to if you could?
Oh, I think I'd love to get Bruni. I think Bruni would be a great chat. There's Alan Woods, yes, Margot Robbie. I think I'd need to do that one in person, but no, I'd love to get. I'd love to have a.
I'll say to come up the stairs next week if you want.
No, that's Mary Jobby or something. No, I think some of the stories Bruni would tell you would be absolutely brilliant. I think that one would be best served in a pub or something, talking about how much he used to fucking love getting at the blue side of Ibrox.
I would like to speak to Andy Tom, but I don't know how good his English is.
How's your German?
9.
9 out of 10.
Scraping the barrel here. Ebony Bridges, is that
boxer?
Ebony Bridges, is that boxer, that female boxer?
No idea.
With the big gloves.
Yes.
Big gloves.
Yeah.
Big gloves, big massive gloves, cracking set of gloves.
Does she get big ones like?
Lovely set of personalities.
Oh, she get big daddies. Is that what you're saying? I'll say it. By the way, I have just had a message from Mr. Anthony McGinty, obviously one of the other contributors on here. Put out a wee feeler for new participants. So, as per requested by Mr. Anthony McGinty, if anybody would fancy a wee crack at coming on, doing a live one, joining the gyms for a night, maybe 2, maybe longer, give us a wee message, and we can make it happen. Unless you're a mad roaster, you can get to fuck, but
yeah, it's difficult to vet that, isn't it, Paddy?
Very.
Yeah. Right, guys. Anything else before we wrap it up for this evening?
No, I'm just sitting here patiently waiting for the weekend, mate, so that we can watch the Celtic again up to Dundee, playing Dundee United, of course. I believe Sunday, yeah.
That is right,
Aye.
mate. Sunday,
And I
4
think it's
o'clock.
a 4 o'clock kickoff. Aye, horrible time.
4 o'clock. We shall see. How are they doing in the league? Let's find out. I'll tell you when I know.
I would say they're doing a fair bit better than when Jack Ross was there. Huh?
Aye, they've been on a wee run for the World Cup, I think.
They're 10th. They're 10th. They've got 20 points. They've got the same amount of points as Motherwell and Kilmarnock, who occupy the bottom 4. They've won 5, drawn 5, lost 11. Yeah. And a goal difference of -12. So that's Dundee United for you. Who have they got? Have they got centre forward?
Fletcher. Steve Fletcher.
Aye. Yeah, aye. But we scudded them 9-0 earlier on this season, so
as I say, that's when that's when your man Jack Ross was in charge of. And I think was that no after the back of him pumped in Europe as well.
He's head Alkmaar.
And then obviously we went up there, pumped him 9-0, and he was gone the next day. So who knows?
Right.
By the way, there'll be an interesting game at the weekend as well. If Jim Goodwin doesn't get the bullet before that, it's going to be Aberdeen against Hibs, and what's been dubbed El Sacico, because your man Lee Johnson's not doing up well up there either. Back-to-back humpings off your Hearts.
Talking about used car salesman, there's another one, man.
Well,
big fucking camel coat and all that.
Aye. I think one of the earlier games that was in the season, we played up in the Capital at Easter Road, and he was wearing mate, he was dressed as if he was going out for the dancing. Stood in the touchline, but nah, he's a fucking nugget.
Aye, you'll be shiting yourself for next year because they were going to win the league, weren't they? We're going to split Celtic and Rangers.
Aye. Frank Brennan. There's only one interview. Sorry, mate. My apologies. Jumped in there. Frank Brennan, there's only one interview to be had in Celtic context with no subject off limits, and that would be with Peter Lawwell, and not for it to be done unnecessarily confrontationally, but only full and frank.
If Carlsberg did interviews, maybe, but it's never going to happen, is it? Aye.
Do you think where would you take that? Where would the interview take place for you guys if you were interviewing Peter Lawwell? I think I'd like to interview him on his heated driveway.
I think it should take place in Nuremberg.
Hey, that's your chairman you're talking about. Nuremberg. Aye, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll pass that one out to the guys watching the now. Couple of minutes before we go, who would be your perfect interview if you guys were choosing, obviously? Frank Lampard. Good for his minute. He got another dud, didn't he? Another dud.
He's a wee outside shout for the Aberdeen job.
Frank Lampard? Nah, no chance.
Frank, so nah. I think they'll go tried and tested. Well, if they sack him.
You'd be better off with his uncle as a manager right now, you know what I mean?
Redknapp.
Aye. Lampard, like. But he had the Derby, didn't he? Then Chelsea, then of course Everton. Everton was a poison chalice anyway. Don't know why you would take the job there. I wouldn't be surprised if David Moyes ended up going back there.
Aye,
well, they're obviously talking about Bielsa being the number one target. I think that would be interesting.
He'd last about a fortnight there, if that man.
67-year-old, by the way.
Who?
Bielsa.
Bielsa, aye. He does well. Like his knees, like he's got the knees of a 20-year-old. You know what I mean? He fucking
Has
punches
he?
down. What the Steve? What the Steve?
On there, like,
It's like a McGinty comment there.
He's still got all his teeth, Gav.
what's the top his heat look like, Gav?
Don't know, man. Do not know. Jerry Sadowitz.
That'll be good, aye. Who have we got? Plunge McNugget says Ghislaine Maxwell. By the way, she's on Talk TV at some point, talking a lot of shite. Jerry Sadowitz by Alan Woods, sounds like a book, doesn't it? Stubbsy's Horse, I'm not even going to fucking mention that bastard's name. Andrew Taggart would love Henrik Larsson for an interview, get the doobies out. Patrick McLaughlin would love Ronaldo 9. By the way, one of my all-time fucking heroes, idols, legends. The real Ronaldo, the only one, absolute incredible player. Talking about knees, by the way, his knees were fucked on, weren't they?
Yeah. Do you remember that news report after he retired of getting into some sort of tight situation with
Choose your words carefully. No.
Aye.
Wait, what?
He get caught with like a couple of trannies in a hotel room.
Hey, what do you call him up now?
Man, come on. call a spade a spade.
So what you're saying is he get caught skiing in a hotel room?
Either that, it was the kind of the other way around. I don't know.
What, Ron?
I don't.
When I got to that.
No, he wasn't embarrassed, mate. No, he got caught, and I think they were trying to blackmail him, and he ended up calling the police, and the media found out about it.
I must go that. It doesn't ring a bell.
But he was still a good footballer, of course.
Oh, incredible, absolutely incredible. And he was going to Rangers as well at one point, remember?
Do you remember Jardel was actually rumoured to go to, well, not even rumoured, Jardel back in the 90s, remember him?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was a player. I was pretty glad that he never signed for them.
He ended up, he went to...
Galatasaray, Porto...
No, he ended up at Bolton, didn't he?
Under Sam Allardyce, aye.
Aye, and I remember... I remember Sam Allardyce, he turned up and he was fat as fuck. Just so overweight, couldn't run. So, really, it might have been good if we ended up with the...
Who else was it that Bolton had for Real Madrid, the big centre half? What was his
name? Ivan Campo.
And was it Redondo? No, not Redondo.
Fernando Hierro.
Yeah.
Him?
Oh, I saw that. Hierro. Great.
That was fucking weird. They had a cracking team back in, weren't they? JJ Okocha and all that.
Djorkaeff, Anelka. Okocha. Did Salgado played for Blackburn, didn't he? The fullback.
Did he?
Aye.
Fucking hell. Who's that? They ended up with 4.
Was he now about 47 when he signed for them right now?
Alan Woods wants to interview Jardel's bird. Or is it Ronaldo's bird? Are you being coy there? Ian McIntosh, they ended up with 2. Is that Flo? By any chance?
Bolton?
Aye.
They had big Kevin Nolan, didn't they? And that Ben Davis. That was it, the 2 English guys.
Aye. 2 big pluggers, wasn't
it? I can't remember if Gary Speed played for them or not.
He did.
I think he did, aye.
He did, aye. Great player, by the way. Great player.
He was good. Died too young.
Aye. Shame. What a way to end the show.
And for Big Red, a couple of trannies in Scotland is listening to Radio Clyde.
Oh,
I thought that's what you meant. He was just listening to the phone in his hotel room.
Right, anyway, enough of this rotten patter. So, as McGinty alluded to earlier on, so if any of you guys fancy a wee a wee stint on here talking shite with us to the masses, to the fans, to everybody. Give a wee message. Whatever. Make it happen. Other than that, give the likes, the shares, subscribes, all that jazz. I know, obviously, we missed a couple of weeks there. Hectic family stuff. Obviously, the guys had a lot of stuff going on in the background, but that's us. Back in the go, back in full swing, back on every Tuesday, back on after the games. Here, talking nonsense.
Can I just say, I hope Palman hasn't ditched us because Giacomakis might be leaving us. I hope that that's not the case, man.
I think he has. I think he's ditched us. I think he's going to be on a Urawa Red Diamonds pod at some point. But if you know, jump back on, pal, because followed us for the start. You've turned into a Celtic man, so hopefully it stays that way.
Aye. And to all the guys in the comments, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Big time. Cheers. Aye. Right, guys. So we'll wrap it up. We'll be back. So Sunday, we've got Dundee United, as we said. 4 o'clock, we'll try and do a post-match review. That sounded like a question, didn't it?
I know. Is that a rhetorical one? Anyway, I'm off to go skiing. So
I'm off to Venice.
Catch you later.
Cheerio, guys. Good night.